Hello, everybody, and welcome to WMN Walter Masterson News. I am Maggie Reed here in sunny California, and let's get over to New York to see Walter Masterson and what's going on over there. Walter,
How you doing? How you doing, Maggie? Thank you so much.
I'm doing great.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing all right. So it's been a big week. I'm coming from New York City. This the liberal hotbed, home of Antifa, Soros, and the rest of them. Proud to say that this city is still standing. After this week.
Well, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you stand to be around all those liberals all the time. You are a true patriot. A true patriot.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So, it's a lot happened this week. Let's just review. So, we had George Soros and Antifa, and Biden got together and canceled Dr. Seuss. They just threw it all out. Yeah.
Can you believe
it? And so then what else? Let me see. The left decided that Mr. Potato Head was no more. That was interesting.
What is the liberal media thinking right now? I mean, the liberal agenda is trying to cancel Mr. Potato Head, a man and a woman, and that's what a potato should be.
I sat both my children down the other day, and we had a talk. Where I was like, Mr. Potato Head, growing up, had a cock and balls, like a dude. And there was Mrs. Potato Head, and she had a vagina, and she had some tits, and there was also the Lola Bunny from Space Jam. I showed my children, the original Lola Bunny and the new Lola Bunny, just to say, like, look at this one. This one had tits and an ass. This one, not so much. I wanted my children to sort of know, because I feel like there's a heritage that's being lost in this generation from our previous generation. And,
absolutely. I mean, it's cancel culture all over the place, and the liberals are to blame. What are we to do? Well, I'm sure you have plenty to talk about with our first guest tonight, Walter. We have the incredible liberal Nikki New here tonight. So
my God, here we go. Bring her on.
I will. All right. Have a great show, Walter.
Okay.
Wow. Hi, guys. Hello, Walter. What an intro.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on the show, Nikki.
Thanks.
So yeah, just it's been a big week for liberals. They've been busy ever since Biden got in office. They've been busy with getting rid of Mr. Potato Head's genitalia. Apparently, they got together.
Walter. That wasn't the Democrats. That was actually the company. It was a company that did that, not the Dems. No.
Yes, yeah, okay. For our audience, Mr. Potato Head is, it is an intellectual property owned by Hasbro, I believe, and they own the intellectual property for Mr. Potato Head. But though that intellectual property was usurped by the left, I believe it was Biden that sort of put in a call.
No, there was no call, Walter. There was no call.
Okay. So Biden didn't call up Hasbro and say, "All right, cock, gotta go."
He's been a bit busy. I don't really think he cares if Mr. Potato Head has cock and balls. I don't think that's on the top of his list.
Well, you know what? I think Sleepy Joe. I think there's not much that he is aware of. So you know what? I might tend to agree with you there. But you know what? I think the rest of the left was celebrating. I think I don't think they care that that there's a lot of people starving in America and that we need a stimulus bill.
Okay, so whoa. Hold your horses there, Walter. You do know that every single Senate Republican voted against the bill, right?
Absolutely. And they stood up for what's right. There's some stuff in that bill that is just atrocious.
And what is that? Tell me.
There's the $15 an hour minimum wage. They just.
I don't think that made it in. They voted against that before.
Okay. Well, that's just terrible that they voted against it. That's awful. So the Democrats voted against their own bill.
No, the Democrats didn't. It was the Republicans.
Okay. All right. And then what else? So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, how much of that money goes to China?
Zero. Zero.
But
you know what? Monies do go to China. The monies from the Golden Idol, apparently, the idol that they bought for the Trump idol, your man there.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
That was China, I heard.
That at CPAC, that was fantastic. It
looked like a big boy. It was a golden big boy.
It looked like it looked like a Bob's Big Boy.
It
right
did.
there, it's and it's, I think that sort of speaks to Trump's, his humor and he did it again.
Humor? Oh, he doesn't have any humor, honey.
No, I mean, I feel like people don't really, the left really doesn't sort of get when he's joking and stuff like that. It's like, when, like here, all right, for instance, when he's, talking about how, they're not sending their best and their brightest, they're sending their worst over here when he's talking about Mexico and MS-13, he was kidding, right?
No.
When families were being separated at the border, that was serious. He wasn't kidding. So, I feel like it's just a disconnect on the left. They really don't know when it is he's making a joke.
So you think that it was, first of all, can I just say this, Walter, that when we're dealing with immigration and families being separated, there's never a joke in that, ever. And if anybody sees a joke in it, then there's something wrong with them.
You know what? I feel like that just gets us into cancel culture. You know what? That's just the left telling us what we can and cannot joke about. I mean, we saw even more of that this week with Dr. Seuss, right?
Yeah.
So Dr. Seuss, there was, and listen, I don't like, racist imagery. I think, some of it's dated. I used to read some of those books that they banned to my children every night, and stuff. And now I can't read them to them.
Okay. It was sensitive, and everyone's blaming the Democrats when in fact it was the company. It was the company of the books that pulled them off the shelves. Had nothing to do with the Dems.
Okay, but let's look at who owns Dr. Seuss. Okay, now Dr. Seuss, there's the Lorax, which is very pro-environmentalist, pro-environmentalist children's propaganda per se.
Love the Lorax.
And that just when I read that, and alarm bells go off. All right, I'm not an idiot.
Alarm bells? What kind of alarm bells?
Very like Soros. It seems like this was Soros funded. So
let me ask, what do you know about Soros? Please enlighten me about what you don't agree with. Like,
he is a billionaire. He's an activist billionaire. So he is. Now he owns Antifa. He owns Black Lives Matter.
So are you not? Let me ask you this:
everyone a check every month. All the protesters get a check every month. You know what? To be honest, we should have had him in charge of the stimulus bill. People would have had their checks already.
Walter, may I ask you a question?
Shoot.
Are you Antifa?
Am I Antifa? I don't know. I don't. I love. Listen. I could Antifa. Could infiltrate. My head. And you know what? I would hope that my colleagues, my family, would fight that. So I could
fight what?
If I was being infiltrated by Antifa.
You do know that Antifa is an ideology. I think we had this discussion a couple weeks ago. It basically means, so if you're not Antifa means anti-fascism. So if you don't believe in the ideology of Antifa, then you're actually admitting that you're a fascist.
Okay, so you know what? So let's unpack that here. Okay, so
sure, let's unpack it
for our viewers. All right. So fascism is hypernationalism. You are you're mixing the state and and corporations together, and giving full support to corporations. You love your country.
Are you talking about Antifa or fascism?
Just nationalism in general.
That's
I think nationalism is getting just a really bad rap these days. And what's wrong with loving your country? I mean, what's wrong with just having a cult of personality around one rock star leader?
Do you hear yourself? You are literally describing fascism right now.
Okay,
you are literally describing it's like a checklist.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with just loving your country over every other country, over to the detriment of everyone else? You know what? That's what America First is about. And we're not.
Yeah, okay, honey, Walter, what you just described is fascism. It's what Hitler based his whole entire governing.
I'm sorry, but it's okay. So Hitler was it the Nazi Party was the Nazi Socialist Party. So weren't they socialists?
Oh boy.
They
were a communist party.
So the Nazis were communists.
Yeah, but he was also a dictatorship. So it was absolute power. He dictated what everybody did all of the time. Like he was in charge.
And so,
it was straight up nationalism, like extreme nationalism and to the point of genocide.
And so ripping off the genitals of a anthropomorphic little vegetable
potato
toy, that seems very communist. That seems genocidal in nature. I mean, where does it end?
Well, I do have to say, okay, I had a Mr. Potato Head growing up. He did not come with any male or female genitalia. So it's not like you can just pop on a wiener. There was no dick that came with Mr. Potato Head. I mean, you could use, the poor kids like me, before I got Mr. Potato Head, I had an actual potato and it sprouted and it looked like he had a wiener. But that was before I actually got the play Mr. Potato Head. There was no wiener attachment.
So serious, serious discussion here. So, let's, it brings us to a larger issue. So now children's toys, let's say, so you're saying it's sort of implied that the gender of the toy was implied. Should that say on the box, the parents get a children's toy for their kid, and should it say on the box, this is a man, this is a woman, this has a big cock, that says like, I feel like we're sort of getting away from gender here when we're playing with stuffed animals and children's toys. And
Walter. Okay. He never came with any cock whatsoever. You could have turned something into one to make it look like it, but there was no hole there to stick anything in to begin. Secondly, now the only thing they did, it's still Mr. Potato Head, but it's just Potato Head is the name of the company now. Like the actual brand is Potato Head instead of Mr. Potato Head, because, that was the company's decision, because some people may have felt left out, whatever. It's not a big deal. So you can get a box with Mr. Potato Head in it. Still doesn't come with any cock and balls.
So so you're saying this was for all inclusion. So they were
yes.
So for inclusion, suddenly we can't talk about how Mr. Potato Head is a man anymore. And I remember it's very distinctive. It had the
could be a trans man, right?
Listen, that's your arena there. I don't know if
could be. What if there's a little girl or a little boy out there that has a mommy and a mommy, right? They don't want to buy Mr. Potato Head. They want to buy a potato head and make it what they want it to be. Or, they have two daddies, so they buy two Mr. Potato Heads. It is about all inclusion. But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? Who cares if they change their name to include everyone? I think that's a nice gesture.
Well, I think I, speak for most of the Conservative Party when I, say that, we as a people are just obsessed with genitalia.
Yeah.
We're obsessed with.
Hi,
sorry.
Walter. I hate to interrupt, but it is actually time
Okay,
for our
fantastic.
network.
We're going to pay some bills here. It is. We're going to do ads. Who are we doing today? Okay, fantastic. All right. So today's program is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Okay. Is it racist? No, it's not racist because you can't be racist towards gay people. Gay people aren't a race. Is it transphobic? Probably. Yeah, maybe. But is it delicious? Definitely.
Wow.
Chick-fil-A.
Wow. Walter, wow.
It's as delicious as it is racist.
What the hell did I just witness right now?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. So moving on to vaccines here. So here's the deal. I still can't get my shot. All the connections I have, the money I have, it does not get me to the front of the line.
Should I start calling you Megan?
Well, that's you know what? That's another one, Megan. You know what? She just went against the monarchy, went against the royal family, and just a very undignified way. And I think having Harry just sitting there, letting it all just play out, not sort of getting her online and letting her just take down his family.
You talking about Oprah? What? Okay. Yeah. I'm confused. Are you talking about the famous interview that just happened a few days ago with Oprah?
Yeah, you said Meghan. I thought you were going to talk about Meghan Markle. Are you talking about?
Oh, no, I was talking about Meghan McCain. But
oh my God, Meghan McCain. Oh, yeah. I spoke to her actually. She couldn't get the shot either. And you know what? She called me up the other day. She was telling me about her father, and she had went to a bunch of places, vaccine distribution sites, told them who her father was. And still no one would give her the shot. Ridiculous.
That's because she's a healthy woman in her, what is she, still in her 30s?
Yeah.
I'm slowly approaching 50 and I have not been able to get a shot either. She can wait in line with the rest of us.
Okay. You know what? I mean, it's like, I think it's a missed opportunity here. I mean, we're trying to recover financially, with this devastating shutdown imposed on us by, the federal and local, Democratic governments. And,
you mean to protect people? Yeah. Okay. To protect the lives of others. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, I haven't been able to get my vaccine. So Megan hasn't been able to get her vaccine. And, I think it's ridiculous. I have a weekly news show and I'm not able to get a vaccine. So,
what does it have to do with anything? You're healthy, you're young.
Well, they're prioritizing. Yeah. They're prioritizing. What?
You have a bow tie. You can wait.
I mean,
just like me.
How long,
I should get one before you.
Listen, spring break is coming up. This is.
It is.
It's start getting warm, and I'm going to need to travel. And I think it's. I think people don't get it.
Well, I think you're in luck. I think you're in luck then, because Biden today just announced that they have ordered 100 million of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So you'll be getting yours very soon.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Biden. Thank you, Biden and the Democrats that pushed through the relief bill.
I just want to give a disclaimer to my viewers at home. I think the vaccine is dangerous. We don't know what's in it. I don't think anyone should get
Maggie, mute.
I think we should all wait until there's plenty of research.
No.
Do your own research on the vaccine.
No.
And don't just trust the Biden administration. Don't trust Fauci to tell you that the vaccine is for you. All right.
No.
But I was saying I couldn't get the vaccine.
No.
But I can't wait to get it.
I'm so confused right now, Walter. You're complaining that you can't get the vaccine, but now you're telling people that it's not trustworthy and that they shouldn't get it. Is that because you want to get further into line?
No, excuse me. I'm going to get the vaccine, and I will get my first and second shot or whichever one. And I will, but I'm going to tell my viewers that it's their choice to do their own research.
But you were just,
it's an informed decision. Listen, if you're an American citizen, it's your choice whether or not you want to get the vaccine. And I'm just going to let my viewers at home know that it's their choice. I mean, Donald Trump, got the vaccine. We found that out this week.
He and Melania had it in secret before they left the White House and didn't tell anyone. How do you explain that one, Walter?
Well, I mean, I feel like, it was his choice to sort of, show some discretion about it. I mean, obviously, and it's like, they wanted some privacy, especially, returning to civilian life.
When has Trump ever wanted privacy? Never.
I mean, it was his choice to not tell the American people about the vaccine that he got.
It was his choice too, right? To tell us that it wasn't a big deal last year, right? Too.
Yeah, he wanted to just keep everyone calm, and I think, and listen, that brings up a better point. What's his name? The guy who wrote the book, the Rage book, the reporter there. Trump told him in confidence, and he didn't. He just sat back and let the virus.
You mean the guy that's been doing interviews for decades? That guy?
Yeah, the guy who brought down Nixon,
who blew the whistle on Trump because Trump was that bad and that.
Well, he waited. He waited. For months, until his book to come out to tell everyone about this. He should have just told everyone in the beginning. Trump is trying to do his job. He has a job to do. He's trying to, run this nation. You make mistakes, and he's saying,
he ran it all right. He ran it right into the ground.
So, but he told him in confidence. He should have broken that confidence and told the press, listen, the president told me this. I think it's incorrect. I think it's a bad plan of action. And that reporter could have saved hundreds of lives, hundreds of thousands of lives.
No, Walter. No. It doesn't work that way. No.
Okay.
He came out and told everybody when he had all of the facts, and he was allowed to talk about it and blew the whistle. He didn't have to. He totally could have protected Trump. And I'm sure that, he had many offers. I don't know, but he could have protected Trump when he was president, and he knew that he couldn't because he was a good reporter and a good interviewer who is supposed to be non-biased, was non-biased, and laid it all out for everyone.
Yeah, I feel like sort of reality, I've said this to my viewers before. I feel like reality sort of has a liberal bias to it.
What?
I mean, do you ever notice that suddenly I get fact checked a lot. My show is syndicated. It goes out to a lot of parts of the globe, and there's always people.
That's understandable. Okay.
Well, after every episode, there's always like these fact checkers. Now, I've noticed that the fact checking that's done, it always has this sort of liberal bias to it. It doesn't wholeheartedly agree with me. It'll always, and I'm sure you can see that. I'm sure
it doesn't. They don't wholeheartedly agree with you because you're wrong. When you're blatantly wrong, people aren't being biased towards you. They're just correcting your inaccuracies. There's a difference.
Okay, you know what? I mean,
there's a big difference there. It's called fact checking.
But yeah, so fact checking, kind of a liberal thing. Just for my viewers at home.
You're right. Facts are a liberal thing. We can agree on something. We can agree on something, Walter.
We will never fact check anything on this show. All right. So we love America. It's the best place in the entire world
Oh dear.
No fact checking here.
There's no fact checking here. Zero.
You know what? I mean, so you know what? Listen. You know, you might think that just because we're a conservative network that you might have all these biases and stereotypes about us. Okay. I regularly, just you're here. I have liberals on the show. We hired a Black person last year.
And
and
why? Like, why did you feel the need to say that? Why are you proud that you hired one Black person?
To show that we're not racist, and it's like
because you hired one Black person.
Well, listen. There was a job opening, and we interviewed the person, and we might hire. We might hire another Black person next year as well. Don't you interview people of all races and colors? I could hire 2 Black people, but the thing is, I'm not gonna brag about that on my own show.
You just did.
No, I didn't.
You just did.
What?
You literally just bragged about it. That it was a big deal that you hired a Black person.
No, I just mentioned it. I mean, I mentioned it. I didn't brag about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's sort of these are the type of attacks that I received from the left, right? Just sort of taking what I said out of context. It's like, I can't mention now, and it's ridiculous. I can't mention that I hired a Black person on my show. Suddenly I'm bragging about it. And it's like,
as long as you hire people that are suited for the job, no matter their color, their race, you shouldn't have to mention that they're Black or white.
You're right. I shouldn't have to mention.
Problem.
You know what? I shouldn't have to mention that I hired a Black person, and that I might hire, another Black person, this year or maybe next year. Maybe I'll wait in, 2-3 years. But listen, this Black person that we hired, he's not the first or the last Black person. It's going to be actually no. He actually was the first Black person we hired, but he's not the last.
Oh dear, Walter. Oh God. Do you have a human resources department? Because if you don't, you're going to probably want to hire one.
I mean, no, that's, listen, it's all departmentalized. I don't, I'm not the, operating officer. I don't do the day to day. I'm just the, I'm just the on camera person, driving us and just sort of, driving it.
You're driving it. You're driving it. All right.
And everything, I have a great staff that does all the fantastic work at this network here. And it's one big happy family. And our family now has a Black person. So,
Walter,
your
propaganda. You're using Black people as propaganda. Like, you can't do that. That's not how it works.
Listen, there's a lot of things that I've done that I haven't told, that I don't, I'm not vocal about. We had a fundraiser, a year ago where we sent bunch of children from the inner city to basketball camp. Now, did we publicize this? Not on my show. I mean, there was like a red carpet and stuff like that, but I didn't talk about it on my show. So, but
you're doing it right now.
But I'm mentioning it to make the
it's
point
your show.
that I didn't mention. I mean, I'm mentioning it now. It's like a year later. I mean, it's like, all right, it happened a year ago. What's the big deal? And I don't think, and I'm not, going to be attacked from the left for, giving money to children from the inner city and sending them to basketball camp. I was proud that we did it. I mean, I think that fundraiser from that night, I think we had sent about 5, maybe 7 children to basketball camp. And, I suddenly, this is, I have liberals on my show, and now I'm supposed to be, humiliated for doing this.
So all of a sudden you're not racist because you sent 5 to 7 Black kids from the inner city to a basketball camp?
Well, I'm not racist because I didn't talk about it.
But you just did.
I mean, but I talked about it like
just
a year
did.
after. It was like a year. I talked about it like a year after. I mean, did I talk about it the day after it happened?
It doesn't matter.
I was on the air literally the next morning, and I didn't. Did I say anything? And this is when they had the riots going on and everything. I didn't mention it.
Walter.
And and just based on this, where the way I'm being received right now, the next time I hire a Black person, I think we at the network are probably not going to tell too many people about it. Basically, this is the reception I get from the left. Every
we don't
time
need to tell you. You're supposed to do. People are supposed to do nice things. You do nice things to do nice things. You don't need to tell people about it.
And it's just, and this is
especially when it has,
This is the thing, you get, it's like the left. It's sort of this damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like, suddenly it's like, I'm being, just criticized. I'm probably, Twitter's probably lighting up right now with tweets about, attacking me for doing this. And, and I'm not going to be attacked for, for sending, some, kids from the inner city to basketball camp. All right. We hired a Black person. Am I supposed to fire him now? Does that make the left really, happy?
You're not supposed to differentiate between people. Like, you hired somebody because they earned it and they were the best candidate, Black or white. You don't say, we have a Black person and use them as a chipping point. Like, what? Like, no.
Listen, you know what? You're right. You know what? They talk about tokenization. We did not tokenize this employee. We kept them in the back office. Anytime we brought, advertisers, any clientele, guests in there, that person was just in charge of IT. They really weren't front facing anyway. And, that was
they were basically, so you're telling me that you hired a Black person as your token Black person.
Well, listen,
so you could say you hired a Black person. Do you hear yourself?
6 months before that person met anyone else that worked at the network.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
So we did not tokenize this
stop. Just stop! My God, do you hear yourself? Do you hear what? I mean, it's the literal classic token Black guy. Like, you hired somebody,
I just told you no one got to meet this person at all. So I don't know where the token part came from. It's probably like there's probably staff at this network that's watching the show right now, and this is probably the first that they're hearing that that the Black person works at their company at all. Okay, Maggie, let's get back to the studio here.
Yeah, please.
You know what? So, Nikki, it's been a pleasure coming on. Always a pleasure.
I wish I could say the same, Walter. Thanks for an enlightening conversation. Once again.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah. So, it's ridiculous. I mean,
liberals, am I right?
To hire a Black person. A year ago, during a fundraiser, there was the part where, each person gives some money and, that's tax deductible, and you send a child from the inner city to a basketball camp. And I go a year without talking about it. I didn't tweet about it or anything. I did take pictures on the red carpet. It's fine. And you know what? I bring it up to Nikki, and I'm wrong suddenly. It's like you can't win. It's like everything's racist.
You're a noble man, Walter. You're a noble man. And, we are one big happy family here at WMN, and not a racist bone in our body. Although I did not know that there was a Black guy working here. I had no clue.
Well, hey, listen, and you know what? And we're going to treat that person just like we treat any other employee. I mean, it's like it's not going to be weird when you see the person in the hallway. And I think just that person usually works very remote, actually, anyway. So you're not going to see them in the office that much to begin with.
Well, you're always teaching me new things, Walter.
Thank you.
Well, we've got another guest coming on right now. We've got Steve Hofstetter.
Okay,
so I'm going to bring him into the studio right now. Have a great show, Walter.
Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I gotta say, Walter, I don't want to start as contentious as that was with your last guest. I know that you and I disagree on a lot of things politically, but I just want to offer a compliment. The courage it takes to be a straight white man in America and yet dress as if you are a teacher from High School Musical. I think that is it's bold.
You know what? Maggie didn't tell me whether you're a liberal or not, or what your affiliation was, but I could tell from the ad hominem attacks that you're definitely a liberal. And so, and that's
that was a compliment, Walter. I don't know why you would see dressing like a person who is homosexual as a negative.
No, I mean it's not. I mean it's fine. Some people, they're homosexual, and that's their choice. I mean, this is America. It's the land of the free.
I think that's wonderful. So you chose to be straight?
Yeah, I choose to be straight.
So that means that you could be convinced to have sex with men.
I mean, yeah, that's how it works. I mean, that's how it starts. That's how Antifa, recruits people.
So wait, is Antifa? I just fill me in here because I'm a little bit behind.
Here's the deal. So you know what? I mean, they recruit. It starts a little. It starts. I'll say this. Every man has walked to the edge of their sexuality. As a man, I've walked to the edge of my sexuality. Sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's a you look at your best friend.
No. Walter, tell us more. Go.
So I think, and I think it's the thing about the gay lifestyle, is it's
wait. No. Don't gloss over that. I'm very curious to know more about your story. So I'd like to learn more about when you went to the edge of your sexuality.
I mean, you can. Let me see. I think, it was like, am I gay? Am I not gay? Is George Soros paying me to be gay? And,
is the check clear?
No one's paying me to be gay. George Soros isn't paying me to be gay. So I guess I'm not gay. And I'm not gay because, I stopped going to the Equinox in Soho. And, and because I feel like here's the thing. I was, I was working out at Equinox. I was working at the Soho Equinox. After gym, you go into the sauna or the steam room. There's a bunch of us guys in there. We're hanging out, and it wasn't a very positive place. So it's just people, places, and things. Sometimes with regards to being gay. So I stopped going to that one. It was in Midtown East, so that there was one in Turtle Bay, and I went to that one instead of the one in Soho
because it was more positive when you were around the other guys.
It's a better scene, locker room scene going on there. I didn't feel like I was at risk, and and I feel like that's how it is to be a straight white man in America. You always feel at risk. You always feel like, at any given point, I could just be gay. I could, just fall into this lifestyle. There's apps. There's the steam room, at Equinox. There's a lot of apps as a straight white man to fall into as you sort of navigate through this new America that our children are going to inherit.
And you have all those apps on your phone?
Not anymore.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, I don't. So it's like, and I mean, listen, we can speculate on what would have happened had I stayed at. I'd probably be, working for CNN right now if I had stayed at the Equinox in Soho, but I stopped going to that gym, and I don't work for CNN. I work for Masterson News Network. So, and it's sort of, we're speculating right now.
And is it? I'm sorry, it's my first time on the show. Is it? It's the network. It's pronounced women.
Wait, that's yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to talk to Maggie about that. But yeah, I mean, it's the big logo on the front of the building, and it says women. Walter Masterson News. But so yeah, but hey, we hired women to work here. I mean, I hired Maggie, obviously. Was she the first woman I hired? Maybe the second, or something like that. Is she the first woman that was, I have on air? Yeah. So, I have nothing against hiring women to do, to work at this network. Our last guest was criticizing me for hiring Black people. And that's just sort of, it's sort of a leftist thing. It's like, where everything's racist. It's sort of like a minefield.
No, I think it's wonderful that you hired a Black person at your network. That
Thank you.
I actually I come from a mixed family. I have more Black people in my family than you do at your network. But I think it's wonderful that you're on your way.
Okay, you have I don't know where you're going with that. Okay, so you either have a big family or a small family, or I'm sorry.
And no, don't
Are you
worry,
saying
Walter.
there's too many Black people? Are you saying that there's too many Black people in your family?
No. Not the word many. That's something that you put in there. But Walter, it's okay if you're confused. It happens to every Republican at one point or another.
You know what? I get a lot of
There's
comments.
No problem with being confused. It's fine.
I mean, it's like supposedly, conservatives lack self-awareness, sense of irony. That seems to be the popular joke on the internet. When people want to come after this show, but I think I'm pretty self-aware. So yeah, let's go into the news this week.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, Mr. Potato Head does not have genitals anymore. Kind of a downer.
When you played with Mr. Potato Head as a kid, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it was sort of implied that this was, I'm playing with, like a man potato, and that this is, a cock and everything. I also played with Ken. And
where did you keep all of the the accoutrement that he would wear, the various glasses and the nose and all that stuff? Where was that kept?
I mean, I guess it was on the body. I guess. I mean, or just scattered.
Yeah, but when it wasn't on the body, when you had the extra ones, where did you put them?
I don't know. Probably in my toy chest or something. I'm not.
You don't remember the part of Mr. Potato Head where they were kept?
No, I think you're about to tell me.
So the way that the Mr. Potato Head toy worked and still works is you actually put all of the extra things that you would put on him in the potato's butt. So I'm just making sure that you're being clear here that your favorite part of playing with Mr. Potato Head as a kid was the dick that came with it that you would put in the butt, which is fine if that is the part of Mr. Potato Head that you were interested in.
Okay, you know what? So, what? We're gonna have to fact check I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Oh, come on! Facts don't care about your feelings.
So but listen, okay. Where I chose to put the things from my potato head that I played with as a child. Mm-hmm. Is that anyone's business? I mean, is that going to solve make the stimulus bill, pass through the Senate faster?
That's a very good point. It's a very good point that this does seem like a distraction from the stimulus bill. But let's talk about it for a moment. So the Mr. Potato Head toy, it didn't have a dick. It was implied, right?
It's implied. I mean, Ken didn't have a cock and balls.
Right. Ken didn't have a dick. Barbie didn't have a vagina. But you knew their gender, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen. Here's Barbie had boobs and an ass. And
so what what were the clues to you that Mr. Potato Head was a guy, if it wasn't a dick?
I think it was just, we're dealing with what's called pronouns. This was, Mr. Potato Head would identify as a Mr. Chose to present with a mustache. So, and that was
fascinating.
That's sort of an implied gender at that point.
That's the,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Maggie, you're on mute.
Silly. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's time for another commercial break,
Okay,
Walter.
we're going to go to a commercial break now. Okay. Papa John's, our CEO said the N-word, so we fired him. And now he has not said the N-word for 5 months. Papa John's, our CEO hasn't said the N-word in 5 months.
They should have a sign, like a workplace accident sign.
I think, they should say that, and I think the people that work at Papa John's, the hardworking Americans, I think they would be, I think they'd be happy to know, maybe there's like a counter, if just how many weeks it's been since the CEO.
Yeah, I think
he's the ex-CEO now. So, even though he doesn't work there, I think he's still committed to not saying the N-word, which I think is admirable. Right. I mean, he's, he doesn't have to not say the N-word. He has millions of dollars. He doesn't work at Papa John's. He's effectively unemployed. And yet he's choosing to not say the N-word. And I think, that's choice. That's, he's not being forced to. No one's forcing him to. He's just, saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to say the N-word.
Yeah. Do you think the counter would be more effective if it was days, though, instead of weeks or months? Just because you might need to reset it sometimes.
I mean, that's interesting. You bring up a good point. Should there be a counter inside of, you're talking about corporate headquarters or in each franchise?
No, each location. The employees need to know to be proud of him.
It might make for a good marketing campaign. I think, a lot of companies are trying to market to, this sort of Black Lives Matter. They're marketing to Pride Month. So, you're seeing a lot of that. So, and it might help. It would actually be a big help. It's sort of, have the Papa John's jump on that corporate bandwagon of just sort of pandering to the LGBTQ, to BLM. When was the last time, we fired someone for being trans? When was the last time of this? And there should be a counter. I think marketing wise, that might do pretty well.
I would appreciate that kind of counter to each business. Actually, that would definitely help me decide where to spend money. Where
to eat pizza, at 2 a.m. when you're on the road, you're in a hotel, it's kind of,
yeah. I mean, that's also, no matter what the CEO of Papa John's is, still not there. But that's just because I haven't had COVID, so I have taste buds. But I'm curious about you. You bring up the concept of the hardworking American.
Hardworking American, yeah.
Papa John's. Where did you get your start before you worked here at Women?
I got my start on radio. I had then social media came about. I had said some things that people thought were kind of racist. I was asked to, sort of walk that back. And I said, listen, you know what? I'm not walking it back. I said what I said. And, I was, ratioed by the left. And, I was censored by the left, really. So right after that, I'll get a little personal here. So I lost my radio show after that. And I was given a show on this network where I could reach, millions of people instead of just, a small audience of a few 100,000. So that's sort of like, I'm a victim of, sort of leftist censorship, this sort of cancel culture. But I was sort of an earlier victim. This happens, almost a decade ago.
And really. the results of being a victim was the results were essentially a promotion.
Yeah. And I think a lot of conservatives in America have sort of they've suffered from this. So it's like, I have a lot of my colleagues over at OAN, at Newsmax, Fox News, and it's like, the cancel culture has sort of come for them. And, as a result, it's like, all right, well, their slot moves from daytime to prime time. And, and then, there's real world consequences.
That sounds awful.
For saying this stuff. And, it's like, I've gone on tour saying this, I've reached a lot of people in my, personal tours, my book tours, my podcast, talking about the censorship on the left and, how we're effectively being silenced.
Now, Walter, I am curious. Have you ever had to fire anybody? Like someone shows up late for work?
We run a business, and and that's you fire people. That sort of comes with it. I mean, if you did run a business and you knew how business works, I'm sure you'd understand.
No, yeah, I hope to one day run a business that's whose logo is behind me. But what I am curious about, what's the, because I've had to fire people and it's tough sometimes, and I've seen people cry. Have you ever dealt with that?
I mean, listen, when I get fire people here, I'm getting other people to do it. That's effectively why you hire someone from HR, so you don't have to be there to do it.
And then you can have them fire themselves as well, that's always a fun thing.
So I mean, it's like a breakup. It's like, how long after, while you're dating someone, does it take before you can break up with them over text? A lot of people will argue, oh, listen, you know what? If you're dating for 2 months, you can't break up over text. I disagree. It's sort of, potato.
What is there a limit? Like how long will you date someone before you can't break up over text? 5-6 years?
I mean, there's breaking up over text. There's having your publicist, contact them, on my behalf. You
could just tweet it.
There's just what?
I said you could just tweet it. Like you could just tweet that you're not dating anymore, and someone will tag them.
No, I mean that also works. I mean, that's assuming the person you've been seeing for a week or two, that their Twitter handle.
Right.
I don't always, it's like someone, you meet someone off of an app, you meet someone at a bar, you don't always know, what their Twitter handle is. I, as a family person, I try not to, sort of mix that, and sort of be, someone that I'm seeing and, like I'm following them on Instagram or something.
Right.
But it's kind of weird.
You should have one of those days signs also, like how many days you've gone without matching with someone on an app while having a family.
Yeah, that's, you know what? I mean, why would I, I don't want to, that's not something you talk about publicly.
Okay. My apologies. When you break up with someone, do you have the publicist do it also, or do you do it directly?
Listen, it just depends. Depends on what I'm going through. You have a busy week, you have a lot of, you have a business. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, we're talking about firing people. Now we're talking about breaking up with people. I mean, where are you bringing this conversation?
I'm just curious as to whether or not you consider that canceling somebody.
Firing someone canceling them.
Yeah.
So am I firing someone? Listen,
you have, in this situation, I'm saying,
listen. Okay. I would never fire anyone from this network, just because, they made comments about Hitler, just because, they, drew a swastika in the bathroom or something.
No, that's why you.
I would never fire someone for that.
Right.
You know what? And I think that's ridiculous that, it's like, it's like, all right, if, we see someone rioting at the Capitol, it's like, all right, well, was that person supposed to be at work today? I'm more concerned, we had an employee rioting at the Capitol, and they were pretty public about it. But it's, we had to let the person go because they lied about, where they were that day. They said they weren't coming into work. They said they were sick. And I'm like, you know what? You don't look really sick to me. And then,
sick with patriotism.
In his defense, he was like, dude, you were at the Capitol as well. Like, you were also rioting at the Capitol. I was like, yeah, I wasn't doing it on company time.
Right. So would you fire someone if they announced that they supported Antifa?
That'd be, I'll call you when one of my employees openly supports Antifa.
One of them emailed.
You know what? Listen, we pay everyone really well here. We pay everyone a little bit better than George Soros pays people. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. They're getting paid well. They're getting benefits. We have a lot of people that work freelance. They might join Antifa. It's sort of a gig economy thing. I think joining Antifa and getting Soros money is,
Walter.
That's the gig economy, right?
Yeah, but you might think it's all about the money, but there are perks of other jobs. I mean, what about space lasers? Like, there are some really cool things out there.
Oh, the Jewish space lasers. I mean, that's a whole different thing. That's a lot of impact. That's why we need a Space Force and not NASA.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, do I know anything about Space Force? No. Does it sound cool? Yes. Do I know that can I be confident that they don't have Jewish space lasers? Yeah, pretty much. But I definitely know that they're not doing like child sex trafficking between the Earth and Mars. It's like, all right, because it was like, all right, we seem to be pretty interested in Mars. And what's the interest all of a sudden? And it's like, it's probably some child sex trafficking.
Walter, I gotta say, I have been interviewed by a great deal of people, and you're the first person that I've ever been interviewed by that is concerned with child sex trafficking on Mars. And so I just want to say, good for you.
No, I mean, that's the thing. There's
concern.
At this network, we're family oriented. We care about children. There's the next generation, and there's a concern. They're saving the children. A lot of critics on the left have said that they've critiqued our movement and said it's saved certain children. Okay, very funny. But that's what it's about. I think Donald Trump did a great job of saving children at the border, and by separating them from their families and stuff. I think there was saving them, and there's a lot of
I'm sorry. Did you say saving or shaving?
Saving. It was saving.
Okay. Sorry,
I think he did a fantastic job at the border. And if you ask other, my other colleagues, everyone at CPAC definitely agreed that he did a fantastic job with children and waking people up to what was going on with children in America. And and what there is to do. It's a lot of work to do to sort of save the kids.
So CPAC is always a fascinating time. Did you were there?
Absolutely, yeah. It was nice to get some sun and to see a lot of colleagues and everything. A lot of people that I was at the Capitol with. I hadn't seen them since the Capitol, and it's like, all right, and it's stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, just like the whole weekend I'm bumping into people. I'm like, oh my God, you're not arrested. Yeah, I thought they arrested you. No, I'm good. Like Nick Fuentes and stuff. He was another one, but I was like, oh, I thought he was in jail before that and everything. A lot of people argue that he should be in jail.
Now, CPAC is like it's like Woodstock for all the people who lived 20 minutes away from Woodstock.
Yeah, it shares a lot of commonality with Woodstock. There's definitely like a lot of love in the air that weekend. Just a lot of solidarity,
a great deal of drugs.
Yeah. So there was, and it's just like, what's wrong with loving your country? and I feel like that's a lot. The left really doesn't get it. It's like, we love our country. Like, why is that so difficult? We love freedom. All right. I mean, what's the problem? It's like,
Well, I don't see much of a problem. I just think it's the right does tend to put the cunt in country.
Another ad hominem attack from the left. I mean, I brought you on to sort of have, a very balanced debate, sort of on the issues facing this country. And, you just come in with this sort of ad hominem.
Well, come on. Well,
and criticizing the people that I fired, or that my publicist fired, just because I don't want to date someone anymore. It's like, what, suddenly I'm being attacked by the left because, I basically had, my publicists, do the role of HR, and so, and you sort of made this sort of, it's very hostile, rather than just, talking about the issues, rather than talking about child trafficking and, stuff. You're just going to go onto, my bow tie.
I do want to apologize, Walter. It's very clear that you're very interested in child trafficking, and I apologize for changing the subject.
Thank you. No, I am, very interested in children in general. Yeah, and stuff. I can
tell.
Yeah. So,
it comes through. It's. I mean, you're glowing when talking about it. And I'm sorry for not seeing that earlier.
Thank you. And so listen, moving along here. So
yeah,
big week. The $1.9 trillion stimulus bill that finally got passed. The Democrats were really slow in getting it done, and it just, it took forever. Americans are really upset.
Who wrote that bill?
Who wrote the bill? I mean, listen here. You tell me, who wrote the bill?
Democrats.
Okay, yeah. So, and they took forever to write it.
Yeah. Did you got a chance to read the whole thing?
I don't sit around reading omnibus bills. I think most members of public office aren't reading them either. But I know that there's money allocated to China. There's a $15 an hour minimum wage. There's a lot of pork in there, to given out to people that don't have a job. It's like, and
so you want to help the people who don't have jobs.
Well, how are we supposed to get them back into the workforce? And if we give them this money, what motivation? It's like, all right, I lost my house, my family's destitute, everything, but now I got $1,400. I'm never going to want to work again.
Yeah, I mean, that is tough to get, enough to pay half a month's rent in most major cities. That is,
yeah. And then, it's like, okay. And it's like, let's say, they use it to pay their cell phone bill and, maybe, buy some food with it. And then it's, where's the incentive after giving them $1,400 for them to seek employment? I mean, we're trying to put America back to work and get everyone, sort of re-entering the workforce. We're trying to open up, hopefully, once this is behind us, in the next, few weeks, months, we can get back to work. And in the meantime, how damaging is this to give people a bunch of money to stay home?
So if you were given, I'm assuming you're not eligible for the 1,400, right?
No, I mean, they did some, Biden's team did the whole means testing. So even before they did the means testing, I'm, too much for that. My company though did get about $1 million in the stimulus money from the first round though. So that was awesome.
That's wonderful for you guys. And yet you all still worked?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It was just a boon for our company.
So you were given a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
And yet you still had motivation to work. Yeah,
I still had motivation to work. I come into work every day, and it helped with our year-end goals, and it helped keep the company profitable. And it gave us a nice boost.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got a nice bonus. And the rest of our employees got their regular year-end bonuses.
So
life went on. Life went on as normal. I mean, we're not looking for a handout. We're not looking for, this sort of handout from the government. And I think that's the difference between the left and the right. Is we weren't looking for a handout. We've been working, through this pandemic.
You were just right. You weren't looking for a handout. You just accepted the one that was given to you.
I mean, yeah, we applied for the government stimulus. It's called PPP. We applied for that, and we qualified under Trump's plan, and yeah, we got quite a bit of money, and that was great. But listen, but that's different than just being this sort of welfare state where everyone's sort of dependent on money from the government. And I think that's what the Democrats want to do, is they want to sort of create this dependence on money from the government. So it's like you want to take any corporate subsidies and reallocate it to people that are not really driving the economy.
So the difference, I mean, I understand that the difference is that if you get a whole bunch of money when you already have money, then you're not dependent on the government. Whereas if you get a little bit of money when you have nothing, then you're dependent on the government.
Listen, I didn't need the money. Was it nice? Absolutely. Was I able to, invest that and reinvest that personally and, into the company? Yes. Were we able to do things with it? I mean, that was reinvested into the company. That was me, buying, property and reinvesting that into the economy. That was, it's cyclical. So, giving it to someone to just pay off their cell phone bill or like pay off their rent or make sure like that their electricity doesn't get turned off this week, that's totally different.
I would have assumed you had saved a ton of money not buying the rest of the tie. I figure it's just cheaper. It's smaller material. So I would have figured by that you'd have enough money just to.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, just because I'm wearing a bow tie, and I just because I went to the Equinox in Soho, which I no longer go to, suddenly I'm gay and everything, and and this is another example of just how straight white men in America are like constantly under attack. It's like, as a straight white man, I can't wear a bow tie. Suddenly, guys are coming up to me, calling me a dandy, trying to, airdrop me, naked pictures of themselves and stuff. And, do I accept the naked pictures? Yeah. I go along with it. I'm polite. But, and that's sort of, the dangers, are you, what is your orientation?
So I am what is called a cisgendered, straight white male, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and do you not feel the same level of attack day to day?
No, but also my phone's name is not Drop Pics. So that's probably, I would recommend, if you're worried about getting too many pictures, probably change the name of your phone would be a good start.
Listen, I think you're lying to me about, the attacks that you must get every day as a cisgendered, straight white male in America. It's like, do you have an Equinox membership?
No, I have a home gym.
No. So I feel like it's one of those things you're just not going to get it. This is it's sort of it's cultural. It's
Is Equinox. So is Equinox then is that the next Pizzagate? Is it
Equinox Gate, or was it Pizzagate? I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not getting Q drops, and everything. At least not anymore. Listen, I mean, the one thing I will say is, we're not, Q was wrong, They got it wrong. They said that Trump would be inaugurated. They said that Biden was going to be arrested during the inauguration, and Trump was going to be brought in. That never happened. There's speculation that it's like, yeah, they swapped faces, like the little face-off thing. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, but Q, supposedly Q said, oh, everyone's going to find out that, Trump's already in the White House, and Biden's just been doing this whole thing from a set. But that hasn't been proven yet. So, we don't know where Biden is filming.
What do you think the next big date is going to be? Because there was January. Well, first there was the election. There was November 3rd. Yeah. Then there was January 6th. Then there was January 20th for the inauguration. Then there was it March 6th?
March 4th.
March 4th.
That was kind of a bummer to be. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of bummed out that day.
What about April 1st? I think that's a good bet. April 1st might be a good one.
Listen, obviously everyone online is, saying 420 this, 420 that.
You have to be high to believe it, or
and it's I feel like some people just want an excuse to celebrate Hitler's birthday. I don't celebrate Hitler's birthday. But listen, if you want to celebrate Hitler's birthday, that's on you, really. So, but listen, Steve, it's been fantastic having you on the show. It's been good to get a perspective from the left here, and and everything. I feel like it really opened up, and so we had sort of a good dialogue.
Thank you, Walter.
I haven't told anyone about the Equinox thing, and I haven't spoken about it publicly. So thank you.
Walter, whenever I have a chance to support women, I will.
Oh, thank you. That's our acronym, Maggie. Yeah, we're gonna. Damn it. Oh, okay. Wow. So I didn't know that's women. Oh, fuck.
We're gonna have to look into that. That was something I didn't see coming.
I got a little weird.
Totally.
Yeah, but listen. Yeah,
it was a great show, Walter. But I have to say, there was a lot of talk about firing people from this network. And I just want to remind you, I am going to be fulfilling my contract next week. I am getting my breast implants, and I'm dyeing my hair blonde.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
I will be ready for next week's show. Okay.
You know what? I think you don't need to go up to a day. It's your resume. I think. Hold on a sec. I think your resume said. I have your resume right here.
A 34C.
You're a 34C, and I think that's perfect.
Okay. Great.
Listen. So
that'll save the network a big chunk of change, right?
You need to go up to a D. Listen. Will we pay for it at the network? Yes. Is it necessary? It's what they call an elective surgery. But you know what? Your commitment to the network is noted, and thank you. You know what? That's why you've sort of risen up the ranks, and you've been one of our rising stars over at the network.
You know what? I love women. WMN, and it is all fluff and no facts over here, baby. And I love it.
Awesome. So it's been a great show today, Maggie, and thank you so much. It was a
great show. And why don't you take us out, Walter? Why don't you give us a big old sign off, okay?
Okay. So is the left trying to censor us? Absolutely. Has Antifa, gotten inside my head, and I think they're trying to. Am I gay? I'm not. I don't think I'm gay. I feel like I would know. And Steve did have a point that all the toys went up Mr. Potato Head's ass. And we didn't know that before, and that's why we bring on guests, from different backgrounds to have very perspective. It was a very diverse show tonight. We had a white woman on, and then we had a straight white man that was a liberal. So we try and see all the perspectives given to us here, because this is America, and it's a pluralistic society. So until next week. Over and out. Thank you very much, America.